What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to 49 Faithfully. We're your hosts, Miriah Lee and Teran Lewis. TL, what up, my guy? Happy, what the hell is today? Tuesday. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, fam?
I'm good, good. Glad the draft is over. I'm glad Brandon Ayuk is still 49er. So for now, I'm feeling pretty good,
Yeah.
Chat, what's up? Hope everybody's doing great. Hashtag FF to get into the first giveaway. Let's go through. Say what's up to some people. Danny, first in the building. 10:27 a.m. You see that?
Dang.
Shout out to you. Throwback. He's always usually first in the building, and he was here at 12:23. So,
Okay.
What's up, Throwback? Appreciate you always. Dawn, what's up, sis? Hope you're well. Maria, Rob, what up? There's Throwback back. He's back. Red Jet Shell, what's good? What's good?
Like and
Let me
subscribe.
see. Melissa, what's up? Hope you're doing well, sis. Good to see you. Collie, Mariah, what a do. Great job over the weekend with crew covering the draft. I appreciate you so much. It was a blast, man. I was freaking exhausted though. Oh,
I'm sure you were.
my
Especially
body
on
been
Saturday,
aching for like
huh?
3 days since. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Saturday is a long show, man.
Hell yeah. And on barely any sleep because they end the draft so late the night before, and then right back first thing in the freaking morning. I don't go to sleep till like 3-4 in the freaking morning. So
Yeah,
to be
night
back
owl.
and ready to do a show at 9 in the morning, oh man, I
Yeah.
was hurting. Tanya, what's up, sis? One of my faves out there. You already know. Snap, what's up, Snap Effects? Good to see you, sir. Hope you're
Okay.
doing
I
well.
am. Okay, cool. Snap, man.
Hashtag FF for those just joining to get into the first giveaway. Let me go through here, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Jeremy, what's good? What's good? See, this is a smart guy right here because, on Twitter/X, that's not what his name is, but his picture is the same on both. So I know
Oh.
exactly who it is because, when you have like 5 different names on every platform and then people come in here like, you don't know it's me? No, I don't. Daniel Barry, what's good? What's good? All right. All those that are watching on replay, that are out there that aren't in the chat, we appreciate you all. We got the best chat out there. So greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Real quick, hashtag FF. Let me get the giveaways out of the way. Let me show you what we're giving away real quick, and then I'll let you guys know about something. So first giveaway, we're going to hit it with this 3. Moody. Jair Brown. Gip. So those will be the first set of giveaways. The second, we got Ayuk. Hashtag pay BA, motherfuckers. I'm tweeting at the 49ers, and I know it's just some college kid running the 49ers Twitter page, right? But I don't care because I'm just going to bug them. I decided I'm going to tweet at them every single day. Them and John Lynch, I'm tagging and telling them to pay BA.
Okay? That's funny.
I'm working, BA. Make sure you kick me down 1%. So, second giveaway, Ayuk, CMC. And from my guy, Inspector Dabbit, we got the Trent Williams sticker. So that'll be the second set of giveaways. And then we'll end with Debo Thrillers, plural. We got our quarterback, Brock Purdy. And we got our old quarterback,
Ooh, Joe Montana. Did Mariah freeze for everybody else too?
Numbered. Coming back now. All right, that was weird.
Oh yeah, it was weird. It was like it was stuck on Joe Montana's face for like 15 seconds.
It shows like it just showed my whole thing went black. I couldn't see you, couldn't see me. I'm like,
Oh,
Joe Montana, what are you doing? Breaking our shit over here.
he just showing he wanted to pause and show how great he was.
I know. Like, don't forget about that Purdy. Look at me. So hashtag FF to get into that first set of giveaways, and we will draw shortly. Let me see. I saw a couple more people join. We got CarCast. What's up? That was it. All right. So what's good? Hope everybody's doing well. Before we get into the draft picks and talking about all that, I do want to, what's up, Steve? Shout out the crew from this weekend or from this past weekend for the draft. Peachy, Mike, Breezy, NY to the Bay. There was a group of people in and out as well. Shout out everybody, because this is probably, I think, I was trying to remember if this was a third or fourth draft that I've done with them.
I want to say you've been doing that ever since 2021.
Okay, so
Yeah. So this is your fourth.
Yeah, and each year has been great. Don't get me wrong, but this year, from start to finish, all 3 days, like, we just had such a great time. Just telling stories, talking about whatever, the chat was giving us stuff to talk about, making fun of Mike, like, so many laughs. Like, I have put it out there afterwards, like, my cheeks were so hurting, like, so sore from laughing so much. And yeah, Collie, the conversations were crazy, like, such a wide range of stuff, because there's, especially when we didn't have a pick in the fifth round at all.
Yeah.
So there was like a big grip of time that we're sitting there that the 49ers are not even ever close to picking, so we had to just think of shit to talk about. And yeah, I had such a great time with everybody. The chat was amazing. Everybody's showing love. So I just wanted to start with that, show my appreciation to all y'all, everybody that came through. It was greatly appreciated, and so much, we had so much fun. I know, I can speak for the entire panel when I say that, the chat was awesome and brought so much to that show. And we had so much fun with all of you guys. So we greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys that came through.
I got to chime in whenever I can, and yes, I heard some of the conversations, and I was like, "What's the first person that stood out to me was Mike." I was like, "Man, that dude was crazy. That man was on that good cushion alcohol." Have you ever heard that song? That's how he was. I was like, "What is wrong with this dude?" I was like, he was talking about some crazy stuff, but yeah, it was cool. That's cool when it's like that, because you kind of get to know people and kind of know, like, just in general, like, it could be anything, like, learn what their favorite foods are, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yep. Yes, Melissa, thank you. That Trent Williams sticker is from, if you guys are on X, Twitter, Inspector Dabbit. His info is in the description box of this video to his website for his gear. There is a coupon code there as well, so make sure you guys check him out. He does great work, and he can do anything. It doesn't have to just be 49er stuff. You come up with an idea and he'll draw it out for you and he'll get it done. So he does, he has all kinds of sports, does all kinds of teams, whatever you guys want. But of course, he specializes in 49er stuff. All right, so let's draw this first set of giveaways.
Okay.
Because y'all know this system, it'll kick you out in 5 minutes.
While you're doing that, I'll answer Izzy's question. So, Blake Corum make me sick that he went to the Rams. Makes me sick. I was like, of all teams, like I was hoping he didn't go to the Rams or to the Cowboys, and he went to one of them anyway. I was sick because my lady's a Cowboys fan and she wanted Blake Corum and she was mad that they
Mhm.
passed up on him. Find it comical that the Cowboys fans are so excited about it getting Ezekiel Elliott back when they think that like it ain't 2015 anymore. Like he's not that Ezekiel Elliott anymore. So, but anyway, JJ McCarthy, I'm still kind of surprised he went that early. Like I watched him for a long time, at Michigan, and I thought he was. I mean, he's a good quarterback, and and I don't know if he's going to end up starting first or gonna be starting or going to be playing behind Sam Darnold. I don't know. He has the opportunity to be very good. He's mistake free. He has a nice arm, but there was times where Jim Harbaugh, where he took the ball out of his hands because he just wanted to run because he didn't want nobody. He didn't want a mistake. I remember against that Penn State game, Blake Corum didn't throw for a. Congratulations, Dustin. He didn't.
Dustin wins
He
Jake
didn't throw.
Moody.
Yeah, he didn't throw for a whole half, and it's unheard of to say, "Oh, I have a franchise quarterback, but I'm not going to let him throw the ball." You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I'm glad
Yeah.
he went to a good spot. He gets to throw to a great receiver over there, Justin Jefferson, if he remains a Viking. So yeah, I like that. For Collie, with your question about Michael Penix, that was a little bit of a surprise. But Kirk Cousins, he got a nice contract, a very nice contract. But he's getting a
Carcast.
Carcast second. Car he's going behind Kirk Cousins. I mean, not Kirk Cousins. Sorry, yeah, Kirk Cousins, who's only getting older. He's just coming off a horrible
Hmm.
injury. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But as far as value, a little high for my liking as well. But Michael Penix's season, he's a little bit older. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to play his whole 4 years in Atlanta. I don't.
No. Carcast
Forecast again?
again, back
Dang,
to back.
back
Jair
to back.
Brown and Gibson taking the safety duo. Congrats, congrats.
So yeah, those are my thoughts on Penix, Corum, and JJ McCarthy. So
Real quick, let me set up the second set of giveaways so
okay.
you guys can start getting in there. So last time we talked to everybody was Fridays. We had only drafted one pick. We won't spend obviously too much time on him because we talked about him pretty much that whole show because we had nobody else to talk about.
Yeah.
But now that like I kept saying, I wanted to see, like, obviously drafting a wide receiver in the first round was surprising, but I like the guy, whatnot. But I wanted to see, like, okay, let them finish out the draft to see if they get at least the other areas of need, and it all kind of makes sense together. And I think I definitely know I'm feeling a lot better, after seeing the entire draft. But what are your thoughts now, specifically on Ricky, while I set this up, and then I'll go over a couple things about him as well.
Yeah. So what's I know everybody already probably knows this, but what's surprising about this draft, there was no underclassmen. They drafted seniors to redshirt seniors. You know what I mean? Like they drafted people who have been around for a minute and who are kind of seasoned, stuff like that. But Pearsall was still, I'm not, and let me tell fans something. You can not like a pick, but still support it. If that makes sense, you can be like, man, I think we could have picked this because this person was on the board and it's a more immediate need. You can be mad all you want. You're a fan. I'm sure you pay your money for merchandise. You go to games. You can fan however you want. But you had tweeted something 2 days ago or somewhere talking about that people ain't even giving these guys a chance. These young men a chance without even stepping foot on the field. That to me is crazy. At the end of the day, they're 49ers. They are 49ers. So you can be like, I don't like the Persall pick, but you can still support it. You don't have to like it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just one of those things where, like, I told you this on Friday. It's like when I saw that pick, it was more like, man, who gone? Picking a receiver. I knew we were going to get a receiver somewhere. I thought more second and third round. But for you to grab one that early, and there's still, to me, in my personal opinion, there's still a possibility of somebody being moved. I don't think it's going to be Ayuk though. I think past June 1st, it could be a Debo. Maybe we get a second next year because we didn't get what we wanted this year. Things are going to have to, because the fact that you drafted this guy first round and you wanted that fifth year option shows me that, I don't know, to
Yeah, we're
me,
gonna talk about that. Rumors
something
still
ain't
out
right.
there.
So yeah, I have no problem with the pick. He's seasoned. He's has great hands. Like from what I think everybody gathered from this draft is they don't want too much of a learning curve. They want people who are a little bit more seasoned, who've been there, done that. And don't get me wrong, going from college to NFL is always going to be a learning curve, regardless. But it helps it a little bit because now you got people that are more sound as far as sound tackling, sound route running, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah, Ricky Pearsall. Although I think it was early, I think.
Mm.
I mean, like I said, we have our opinions and these scouts have theirs. So the fact that I read that the 49ers were looking to trade up but had no takers tells me that they thought he wasn't going to be there at 31. So we might have him. I had him like mid to late second. So the fact that, and that's my ranking. So the fact that the 49ers said, nah, we're trying to move up. If not, we can stay here and hope he's there, says something else. So like I
Yeah.
said, I mean, you can't, really has no weaknesses and I don't even think it's really a weakness because everybody's talking about his age. Like, oh, he'll be 24 when the season starts. Okay, cool. But at the same time, too, we have him if he gets his production, all his 5 seasons and turns 29, that's all you can ask for. Just give me production to the first 5 years of your thing. But like we said before, he's the first round draft pick this year. But to me, he's fighting for a number 4 job. I don't think just all of a sudden he overtakes a Juwan Jennings. It's not going to happen. He's not overtaking a Ayuk. He's not overtaking a Debo. Let's be honest here. So that's what's puzzling because you got 3 very good to great receivers on this team, and then you drafted one in the first round. So to me, it says somebody still can be moved, or they're just preparing for if there's an injury that happens that they don't want to skip a beat and have somebody who has third or second um, depth chart caliber to step right in where there's no like, oh man, we don't have a good number 4 receiver, if that makes sense. So that's
Mhm.
how I feel about Pearsall, whatever how you say it. I think it's Pearsall. Yeah.
Yeah, he said Pearsall.
He said Pearsall
Um,
himself. Okay, yeah.
he said, but everybody gets it wrong. So,
Yeah. Because it
what's
looks
up,
like
Ty?
Pearsall too, because it's spelled
Hmm.
pear like that. Pearsall. So yeah, it's a bunch of different ways, but I'm glad he clarified it.
What's up, Ty? What's up, Jason? I see y'all. Hashtag smile to get into the second set of giveaways. You brought up his age, and I was watching this interview that he did before the draft, and he was talking about conversation. Well, he was asked about meeting with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin and how that visit went and yada yada. And he talked about how they mentioned to him that his age they saw as a benefit, that he was older because he's already played ball. He already knows so much stuff. He's already had time to develop. He's already, all this stuff. And obviously, you talk about the 49ers, what they went for in this draft, it's all older guys, right? So the 49ers obviously don't see it as a weakness either. We've seen them draft young guys and they can't even make it out Kyle's doghouse because they're little wimps and all this other shit. So maybe the 49ers actually are drafting grown men. They're already like in their man bodies. They've already played so much football, already seen so much football. Like these guys have played numerous, like you look at the O-line guys, played every spot. Like they've played so much football, they've had time to play every single spot across the entire O-line,
Yeah.
like so yeah, obviously, we know the Steelers and how they are with their wide receiver drafts. Like they always end up drafting gems, wide receivers, like wide receiver freaking you over there. And yeah, they were high on Pearsall, he said, and that was a thing they specifically said to him was that they saw his age as a benefit. Something that in that conversation he had also talked about, and again, this was pre-draft, didn't know he was coming here or anything. They had asked him, about his relationship with Brandon Ayuk and if he had talked to him pre-draft and whatnot. And he said that he had met with Ayuk a few times, before the draft. They were working on routes, working on different things. That Ayuk talked about him, like to him about just like, like being like everything that he needed to know, like how the NFL is, how it works as a business, which I thought, great timing on that one. Just how to attack the NFL like a pro, so I thought, like that's awesome, that BA was already getting him ready for for his next team, and the team happens to just be with BA. So I thought that was great. A couple other things from different, pressers that he did and whatnot that I wanted to, just mention real quick. He mentioned that, like every interview pretty much they talked about him being a workhorse, that he put so much work into his craft that, when he first was, at ASU with Ayuk, like he wasn't a great route runner. And, people talked about to him about, that being his weakness. And now look, coming out to the draft, 4 or 5 years later, whatever it is, now that's one of the things that everybody highlights him for, so obviously he does put in that work. So that's great to see. His dad was a wide receiver in college. So he said he started out as a quarterback, went through other positions as he was coming up, but with his dad being a wide receiver, he kept, going back to that. And then once he like hit whatever age, he was like, yeah, wide receiver, like that's what's in me, so he went to that. Let me see. Oh, so, they asked him what the faithful are getting from him, whatever. He said, like somebody that's dedicated. He wants to, that's somebody that's going to represent the organization well. We're getting everything from him. So yeah, I thought, pretty cool stuff. What I see a lot of comps though out there are comparing him to like Adam Thielen. Like, what do you think about that comparison?
Yeah, I've seen the Adam Thielen. I think he has a little bit more. He's a bit more of an athlete than him. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
thought
Like,
so too.
I don't think. I'd say more of like, and I've seen some comps. And I think this has been the most perfect one. Maybe like a Julian Edelman in his prime. Fast, got some wiggle to him. Great route runner. Decent hands. I remember I was watching the highlights, and there was this one catch he made one hand. I was like, that's Brandon Lloyd all over again. That's a good one. I would say not as fast, but let me see. Who else can I? I don't know. I think Edelman's probably the closest I've seen. That's a pretty good one. And then I've seen somebody say he's like a Chris Olave type of receiver. Like
Mhm.
slim, skinny. Slim, kind of slim, smaller size, like not over. Nobody like he's only like 6'1" with what like 190 or something like that.
Yeah.
Slim, but can take the top off and with a great route runner stuff like that. So yeah, those been some pretty decent comps. But yeah, Edelman has probably been the best I've seen. And you know what too? Like to talk about the age thing, it's funny. Like my dad, my dad always used to tell me when we were watching football and stuff like that. He's like, usually with the character concerns, usually somebody who's been able to buy their own drink for a couple years is gonna stay out of trouble. Seriously, start
Yeah.
getting these when you get these 21-year-olds, just being able to party. That's usually when like I'm not trying to bring up anything bad, like the Henry Ruggses, the Rasheed Rice, those guys that are like 21 years old that are still
Mhm.
young, still in the party. And this man's already 24 years old. He's been able to party, been able to buy his own drinks, and he hasn't gotten in trouble yet. So that doesn't mean he can't. But I'm just
Right.
saying, you get less of a concern when you get somebody of that age.
Yeah. I didn't think about that, but that makes sense actually.
Yeah.
Um, a couple things real quick, that I liked. He has a 42-inch vert.
Hmm.
Um, he's fast, 4.41
Yes.
40-yard dash.
Very fast. Yep.
Like, man. And watching him, obviously, I not like I watched him all these years in college, but now since he got drafted, going back and watching stuff this last few days, like that boy, first of all, he had a shit receiver. So let's start there. I mean, shit quarterback. So let's start
Quarterbacks.
there.
Yeah. Hmm.
People talk about, oh, well, he's not as good as these other guys because his production and yada, yada. It's like, well, his quarterback's like throwing the ball 16 feet over his head. 5 feet in front of him in the dirt, like he's having to make circus catches to even, attempt to get the ball caught, like
Yeah.
his job shouldn't have to be that hard as that quarterback, and other quarterbacks have made it. But he is a freaking dog. Like he is not scared to go up and get anything. Like this last quarterback he had, like threw him so many hospital balls. And this guy is coming out like he knows he's about to enter the NFL draft, and he ain't out there playing scared that he's going to get hurt and it's going to affect, something going into the NFL or whatnot. No, he's out there playing like he has no freaking fear at all. Like going up in 3 freaking defenders around him about to come crashing down on his ass, and he's still going up freaking 5 feet to get the football,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, shout out to you, Roscoe's. I see you. Appreciate
Roscoe.
you coming through.
Yeah. And Collie, when Dante Pettis was in college, if you're comparing the Ricky Pearsall's with the Dante Pettis in college, it would make more sense because Dante Pettis in college was a beast of a returner. Matter of fact, he held the record for 6-punt returns in a career, and then also was a great route runner. But the difference between Pettis is that he ain't got that dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Ricky
You got
Pearsall.
that cat.
He got that cat. You know what I mean? Softer than cotton type mentality. You know what I mean? But you got Pearsall. That man's a dog, man. And the way he tracks the ball in the air is amazing. Like the angles, like there was this one play on the sidelines where he was like kind of falling, and the ball was like he tracked the ball so perfectly and caught it was just amazing. Like it would have been real hard to catch that ball from like a normal receiver. So yeah, like I said, do I think that and it's hard to say, like you people say that, oh, we overdrafted. You don't know if you overdraft somebody until they play.
Yeah.
He can come out and you could be like, man, this dude, he was well worth the 31st pick. So it's kind of hard to say. Like I said, we can all have our draft grades. Like I said, I had middle of the second to the end, but obviously 49ers thought different. So let's just give it a chance to see what happens with all these draft picks,
Yep. What's up, Mister? I see you. Appreciate you coming through. Hope you're doing well. Hashtag smile to get into the second set of giveaways. Dion, what's good? I see you. Hope you're doing well, sir. Yeah, he was finesse, all right.
Yeah, way too finesse.
Extra finesse.
I saw a video
Extra
of him and his
finesse and
buddies.
sass.
Man, I saw a video with him and his buddies in Hawaii. And like it was going into his second year. I was like, he ain't it. He's too soft. I saw that video and I was like, oh Lord. I was like, yeah, he ain't gonna be on this team too much longer.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so let's go on to, let me pull it up here so I don't be skipping nobody. All right, yeah, cornerback Renardo Green at Florida State was our second round pick at 64. Mm-hmm. Just a couple of things that I had on him real quick before I get your thoughts.
Okay.
So the first thing that I love is that this last season, the most yards that he gave up on defense was against a game against Pittsburgh, or I think it was Pittsburgh, and it was 40-something yards. That was the highest yards he gave up all season long. So let's freaking start there, okay? But they asked him about, playing for the 49ers, and he talked about right away that he loves this defense. He said, like that he's like, you turn on a 49ers game, you turn on the tape, like that defense is nasty. Like they're dogs. He's like, and that's exactly what I am, And I'm like, yeah, this, like, he already knows when you already see, okay, that the 49ers defense is set up to here with dogs, and I got to meet that. And I'm already coming in saying, that's what I am. I'm like, okay, that's the kind of guy I like right there. Like, he ain't like, trying to be like a little cat. We need more dogs on this defense, So they asked him what his best instinct, like his best traits were. And he said instincts and athleticism. So I'm like, okay. He said, because he's been playing football and cornerback, or defense, whatever, the safety and cornerback for 17 years. And like he said, like he didn't start off at, quarterback and work his way to O-line and go through all, like he'd been playing those, that position. So he said he's been able to study it, perfect, what he does out there in that time. Obviously, just even this past season, like we watched the wide receivers, the first ones to come off the board. He played against all those. And like I just said, his biggest game he gave up was 40 yards against Pittsburgh, and that ain't none of them.
Yeah.
So he was locking down the best wide receivers in college. And, like he just, man, like I said, you turn on that tape and you can just tell, like, he's a dog. Like I had put a tweet out after the first 2 days in the draft, after we picked the first 3 draft picks. And I put 3 out of 3 dogs. Like, you made it through these first 3 picks, and every single one of them, as soon as you turned on the film, turned on anything that talks about them, anybody talking about them, was their dog. Like, perfect. What we freaking need on this team. So yeah, what are your thoughts so far on Renardo Green?
Yeah. So, after doing my homework on all these draft picks, just looking at them, Renardo Green was shockingly not even placed as like a top 10 corner from what I saw. Maybe other people saw something different, but like in my draft magazine, he was like 6th round prospect. Just looking at all these things. I'm kind of like shocked. So when he stood out, when they drafted him, I'm like, why hasn't been talked about him like much? You know what I mean? It's kind of shocking. Then I went and looked at some tape on him and stuff like that. And like you said, man's a dog. He shut down Malik Neighbors, who was right there, top 10 draft pick and stuff like that, and playing in a great conference too in the ACC. Like, you don't have no slouches in there. You got Devontae Walker and all these other guys. So for him to only give up 40 yards shows something. Like this dude he's physical. He looks like, and one thing I will say about all these guys we picked on defense, which ain't too many of them, but they all can tackle well. They're all great tacklers. So I like the fact that he was there. So maybe, like I said, maybe we found like a diamond in the rough, and everybody was thinking like, oh, he won't go till day 3. And the Niners were like, nah, but you thought like I'm gonna get him now. And like we mentioned before we started the show, like, we're getting guys who are like seniors. We didn't get any underclassmen. So he's been playing for a minute. He's seen a lot. And for some of these guys were even 5th-year seniors. You know what I mean? So some of them been in college for like 5 years. So they've seen a lot. And I knew that corner. We had that show on Friday with Tony before the draft started, and me and Tony both said I think our next 2 picks in rounds 2 or 3 will be a corner and an offensive line, and that's exactly what we got after getting Pearsall. So yeah, I can't complain. Like I said, it seems like he's a good dude. Hopefully we found another diamond in the rough, kind of like Diamador Lenore. You know what I mean? Come out and do his thing. So yeah, I'm not, it's one of those picks where I feel good about, and I think he might. I don't know, like he's more of an outside guy too. So maybe if he comes in and he impresses or whatever, and he's as good as we think he is, and you can also slide Diamador Lenore as a slot too. You know what I mean? So yeah. Good pick, in my opinion.
Yeah. Melissa, she says celebrating still D-line wasn't top pick or running back in the 3rd. The fact that they didn't pick a D-line at all in this draft,
says something.
I could, that was my probably the biggest surprise of this draft for me is when we got done. Like every round they kept saying, so right before we pick, so what position do you think we'd pick? I kept going D-line because I'm like, they have to. These people have to pick
love D linemen.
Like they love them, right? Like there's no way they don't pick one sooner or later. So I'm like, okay, D line, nope. D line, nope. Made it through the whole freaking draft and no D line. Like, wow.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Like we're talking about, the amount of time these guys have played, and Johnny Dales had put out a tweet that says one theme from the 49ers draft this year: experience. Outside of Pooney, who missed time with COVID cancellation and injury, every player the 49ers drafted played in 32 plus games. So Ricky Pearsall played in 54. And then we got, who is it? Renardo Green, played in 45. So yeah, both of them, like they've seen a lot of freaking football. And man,
it's a lot, yeah.
Like a lot of these guys, obviously Pooney, like he said, missed time, but still played in 24 games. So it's not like he, only played in a handful or whatnot.
Yeah.
Malik played in 37. He only has it by the initials. That's why I'm trying to figure out who each one of these freaking are.
And you got Jacob Cowing.
He played in 58.
Oh, okay.
Isaac played in 32. Who's the other J that we drafted? I don't know. But still, 45 games and then finish it off with 55 games. So they've all played in a shit ton of games.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Third round. Yeah, Pooney. So real quick on him. I love, in his press conference, he said that the team, like he told his agents that out of the teams that he wanted to come to, it was the 49ers, the number one place. He said, so when he saw his phone ringing and saw that it was, from the Bay Area, saw that it was San Francisco, like the first thing out of my mouth was as it was ringing and I looked at it, I said, hell yeah. I'm like, that's the kind of kids that we want, the ones that want to freaking play here and be here, So he says, he told agent after the 30 visit that San Francisco was his favorite visit. Obviously he said he's excited to learn under Trent, who he sees as the greatest of all time. They asked him what it means to him that the 49ers gave up additional picks to move up in the draft to draft him. And he said it means a lot that the 49ers gave up picks, that he wants to prove that, obviously that they made the right decision in doing that. And yeah, so what are your thoughts, on Pooney? And then I'll kind of talk about what else I have on him.
Yeah, well, I've been clamoring.
And puny, he not very puny. Let's go there.
Not at all. Okay. Not at all. Well, just like 90% of the 49er fam, we've been clamoring to get an offensive lineman. Like we're like, man, we need work on that offensive line. Trent Williams, probably in his last year. Right side really hasn't showed us much. Center is to me is serviceable, but not elite. And then, Aaron Banks is probably the one who I feel is promising that's going forward. You know what I mean? As far as his starting job is secure. So that for us to get somebody like this who's played, and who's played across the whole line, you know what I mean? Has played guard, has played tackle. They said he's a good run blocker and a good pass blocker, which is good. You know what I mean? So, yeah, love the pick. I was hoping for offensive line sooner, just because I wanted, like the highest graded one. Like I honestly thought, we'd get one in the first round. That was one of my ones where I said I'd probably be surprised. Like we'd either get, I thought corner or offense line first round. I thought we were going to get that center from Oregon that was still available. But, it didn't happen. So like I said, I'm just glad that we have somebody going forward. But even if we drafted a lineman in the first round at 31, me, you, and Tony all said it. We didn't think he was going to start anyway. Just because Kyle's like, I went to the Super Bowl with this starting offensive line and nothing has changed. You really have to blow that offensive line coach and Kyle away for you to get a starting gig after going. And I know we see things different. We're like, man, this offensive line is shaky. They're going to get Brock Purdy killed. But at the same time, we're like, hey, a first round pick probably is not going to start anyway because of the situation. So I'm glad we got one in the third round. The dude is a mauler. Like he's physical. He's not, he's no Kwame Harris or no Marcus Martin, them soft dudes we've had in the past. So this dude is physical. So yeah, I love that we picked him in the third round. It's an awesome pick to me.
Yeah, and then like I had mentioned it earlier, he has experience at all 5 O-line positions. Like we know how this team is, and finding guys that can do more than one job. Like you're not going to last long on this team if you can only play one position, or you're only available to them in one way. Like, and they can replace you with somebody that can do 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. Exactly. Like you're out of here. And he's definitely one of those guys. In 2023, he only allowed 4 pressures and 0 sacks. Like that's the kind of guy we need, it says that he has the agility to pull and get to the second level. So perfect for, what this offense does. The things that, obviously the negatives about him is his arm length. So, they're saying that he played, mostly tackle, but that he's expected to play guard or center.
Yeah.
Right. Because of his arm length.
Yeah.
I saw, and I was trying to listen because for anything O-line, I always go to Brad. He played O-line, he coached O-line. And I didn't get to finish listening to it, but I know a lot of people kept asking him like about the way that Pooney plays, like so upright, like because I guess he's tall, right? I don't have his height here, but it looks like he's tall as shit anyway. But like everybody in the chat and in his questions kept asking him like, like why does he play like so upright? And they're saying that like that's one of the negatives about him, but that's something that can easily be coached, like
Yeah.
um
And Puny, to
and
answer your question, he's 6'5 1/4. So yeah, he's a big guy.
yeah, but yeah, I like him. He just seems like he brings that nasty to the O line. Like I hate like having freaking choir boys on the O line. It's just like, man, like we need like, especially when you're going up against like D lines like in Philly, and like these beefy mean ass D lines you're having to go against, and you're just like a little choir boy out there. It's just like you're bringing no fear to those guys on the other
At
side
all.
at all.
Yeah. That's one position that you look at on the field. Like, I like for everybody to be physical, of course. But when you're an offensive lineman, you got to be physical. Like,
Yeah.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like, you're getting rushed every single play. There's no way you can go out there and be soft. So I agree with you. Like, I don't want no choir boys out there, people out there, saying "Olay," like they're out there with the red towel,
Yeah.
red towel for the Bulls. You know what I mean? You gotta go out there and put your body in front and be expect to be probably pancaked and stuff like that. But hey, if you go out there and get pancaked, at least the best thing about it, you're probably on the ground. The defender's on the ground too. So that leaves an opening for somebody to get a run or give the quarterback some time. So Collie said like McGlinch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Frickin', I could have frickin' slapped his ass around out there. All right, let's do this second set of giveaways before it wipes y'all out of here. Hashtag smile if you haven't got in there yet. Last call. He was hella soft. And look, he's being hella soft over there in Denver too, just the same.
Yeah, I can't.
They paid him all that money. Disgusting. Exactly, Jason. I'm all for drafting them. Like,
One
y'all are
thing about
badasses.
Polynesians, they gonna be
And
physical.
big boys.
They gonna be physical.
They're big boys and they're gonna be physical.
Yeah, that's guaranteed. Yep.
Hey, Sin. Sin said, I'm gonna sneak in there and take the giveaways right now. All right. What are we doing here? All right. So first we're gonna draw Ayuk, then CMC, then the Trent sticker. So first,
nice.
Clear Ayuk here.
One thing about them Polynesian too, if you ever get to a fight with one of them dudes, you better bring your lunch.
Hell no, I ain't fight them.
No, I'm just telling you from experience. You better bring your lunch.
I'm trying to go to them for my lunch.
Them dudes gonna bring it. Jason said those Polly's gonna fight you, then feed you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, for the Ayuk rookie card. Dustin.
Dang, this is the second time.
2 for Dustin. All right, CMC, Thunder Lane. Good luck. Rob D. Congrats, Rob. And for the Trent sticker from my guy Inspector Dabbit, info in the description box of this video.
Hey,
good
Sam.
luck. Dang,
he cleaning up
with the hat trick. Congrats.
Man, cleaning up.
Congrats. Congrats. All right. Put Rob's name on here. I'll set up this next ones and then I'll let y'all know. Appreciate y'all. Congrats to the winners. All right. So the next pick, one of my favorite picks, safety. Malik Mustafa reminds me of Mufasa. Out of Wake Forest, round 4, pick 124. First off, let me start with I love when guys come to this team and they grew up 49ers fans. So let's just start there. He grew up a 49ers fan. They asked him why he became a 49ers fan. Now, that's going to make you love him even more. He said because growing up, his family was Cowboys fans and he wanted to go against them. So he chose the 49ers. He said that he would play Madden and use Frank Gore. And when he had his, one of his meetings with the 49ers, Frank Gore was there. And he said that, he was starstruck. And now it's pretty much, like coming full circle for him. So love that. This was one of John Lynch's favorite interviews throughout this entire process was with this guy right here. They said John Lynch just raved about him all off season long. They asked him, well, first that the 49ers were his only combine meeting.
Really?
And they asked him about, what the 49ers said, that they liked about you, at that meeting or whatnot. And they said that he has a high IQ, obviously not just the stuff on the film, that speaks for itself, but he said that he has a high IQ and that he was able to just sit there and talk football with them. He said, I've seen a lot. He's like, I played a lot of ball and I was just able to sit there and talk the same language as them and not get lost. He's like, that's something you need from my position. He's like, you need to be able to be one of the smartest guys on the field. He's like, that pretty much like, that's him. So I love that. That's pretty much all I have from there. But what are your thoughts on him, what he's going to bring to this team? And where do you think this whole safety room, do you think it's going to look a lot different next year?
Depends on the health of Hufanga, I think.
Because this is Hufanga's contract year. So
it is. It's his contract year. I personally think that Hufanga might be used more as like a linebacker type role, in my opinion. Like he was already like not the fastest guy, and then had a problem in coverage, so he could be like a rush linebacker on third down, stuff like that. I don't know, but it's telling. Like I'm thinking we could be starting the season with like Mustafa as a strong safety, and then you got Jair Brown at free. That's what I'm thinking. But as you said, he's my favorite pick. I love this dude. I love this dude, man. I just love that he's physical. He's great at stopping the run, and probably the best. They say he's probably the best pure tackler in the league.
Love that.
Barring position, barring like linebacker, all that. And looking at Collie, he makes a good point. We can have a lot of three safety sets, especially like on rundowns. You know what I mean? Like
I'm excited for that.
Having Hufanga, Mustafa, and Brown in at the same time will be interesting because I think you can almost bet that one of them at some time is going to be blitzing, and you're not going to know where it's coming from.
Well, and they said Joe Staley likes to have like a do it all position, right? Like a rover type position there, like in safety. Yeah. So that's likely that we see three safeties on the field at the time.
And I agree with Jeremy Jones here when he was saying it's a good story. The fact that he knew all his family members were Cowboys and he was like, well, I'm going to be a Niners fan. That means he loves competition. He's not scared to go against the grain.
Yep.
and do some trash talking and stuff like that. Like I just love that. So yeah, I mean, like I said, him and the pick we're going to talk about in two picks are my favorite ones that I got. That's like that. I just love these two picks the best. But yeah, Mustafa for sure was my favorite draft pick. When we drafted him, I was like, yes, like we needed this safety that's physical. I can't. Like my dream, because I'm a defensive guy. Even though I played some fullback, I'm a defensive guy, and I just want that. I want to go back to the old 49er teams of like the Merton Hanks with the Tim McDonald's, the Dante Whitners with the Deshaun Goldsons. I want our
Mm-hmm.
safeties put fear in people. Like go ahead and catch over the middle because you're gonna get that work. You know what I mean? I just can't wait. And I feel like with Jair Brown and Mustafa, we can have that in a couple years. So yeah, I'm very excited about this pick.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like our safety room, I don't know, what the future is going to bring, obviously, with Huff. And, hopefully he's healthy enough and comes back, as the Huff that we know. But man, the thoughts of having Huff and Brown and him, like, holy shit, like that room just got very dangerous. If all three of them can be what we expect all three of them to be.
Yeah.
Like, man, I can't wait to see.
Yeah. Well, Izzy, right. I don't know enough about Tatum Bethune, so that's somebody I need to dig in more to find out the way he plays and stuff like that. So yeah.
And we're not there yet. Shit, we're only in the fourth round so far.
So no, probably because I didn't say he was my favorite.
Well, the 49ers didn't draft a running back in the third round, but they did draft one in the fourth round. Isaac Guerendo out of Louisville. Fourth round, pick 129. I actually like this kid a lot. Seeing everything, watching you guys know I'm a big vibe person, and he's just one of them that, like, I don't know. I like him a lot. He's fast. Like, man, this boy is fast. The
4.33 fast.
Yeah, fastest running back in the combine, and had the highest vert in the combine as well. Let me see. So they asked him about Bobby Turner. He said that he talked to Bobby Turner a lot throughout this, pre-draft, that Bobby Turner would just text him randomly, asking him questions, telling him stuff that he needed to work on already. Like that's his coach, right? He said out of all the running backs coach for any team, Bobby Turner was the one that he talked to the most. Now, if you guys remember, probably like a month, I forget the date specifically, but I want to say like a month or so ago, Steph Sanchez had put out a tweet that said she had got notification from, I believe it was that Pauline guy, saying that the 49ers had a third round grade on Isaac Guerendo, and that, he's having a lot of communication with them. And he deleted the tweet right away. Now, obviously, there was something there, because why, out of all the names that you pick, it really was the name that he was having the most contact with, right? Like,
yeah,
and now it comes out that, this happens to be true. So interesting that, maybe the 49ers said, no, don't fucking put that out there. You better delete that shit. And he deleted it right away. Who knows? So let me see. They asked him like where he was expecting to be drafted, and he said that, like, from everything that he heard and whatnot, he said between the 3 and 5 range, and the 49ers got him in 4. So not bad,
he knew his value.
Yeah, obviously he catches the ball out of the backfield. He blocks, like he's an underrated blocker. He's great for outside zone that we haven't been able to run since Mostert, because we haven't had a running back fast enough to get it around the edge, like Mostert could. And now we finally have that guy. Now we know how Kyle is with running backs. So I don't want to get too excited, because I feel like then I get excited and we don't ever see the freaking guy. I'm going to hope that this time it's different. Okay. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. Of course, we're gonna do our show down the road where we predict the roster and roster moves to come. Let me just say, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a running back get traded. Your thoughts on Isaac? And he has dimples, and I love that in a person. So let me just say that.
Does Elijah Mitchell, is this his last year of his deal?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Everything you said was spot on. But here's the thing. Will he be used? That's my question. Catch out of the backfield, great. Can hit the outside because it's 4.33 speed, great. Huge running back, 6 foot 220, like a bruiser. So you're
How
getting
are
like
you that big and can run that fast? First of all,
like Jordan Mason. I mean, yeah, like Jordan Mason. He's a big guy, big like 6 foot 220. So it's like Jordan Mason on steroids. It's because this dude is fast. So I don't know. Like it's hard. I'm gonna be honest. It's hard to get excited about a running back because you just don't know. Like we all season we're like, man, give Jordan Mason some burn, give this and that, and we never see it. He's all about Christian McCaffrey. And you want to sit here and hope and think like, well, maybe Kyle Shanahan will look at Christian McCaffrey, see that he's getting a little bit older, and to not have so many tread on his tires, maybe use some more of these running backs because it needs to be done. Because with running back, their shelf life is really low, it's really small. So you keep giving Christian McCaffrey the rock all the time, which all of a sudden, I mean, obviously we're not going to complain about it, but it's one of those things where it's like, man, like, when we're up, 2 scores or whatever the case may be, just give Garindo or Mason or somebody one series. Like it's not going to hurt. You know what I mean? Just change it up a little bit. So like I said, and looking at our running backs that we've drafted, Joe Williams, Trey Sermon, TDP, hard to get excited, to be honest, because like I said, we drafted these running backs in the 3rd and 4th round. Joe Williams was the first year, the 4th round pick. We traded up for him. He was out of the league in like 2 years. And now it's kind of like, we had 2 3rd round picks who we drafted in the last 2 years who are both struggled and both gone off this team. So maybe something's different, hopefully, because like I said, the dude seems like he has talent. He catches the ball and all this other stuff. He's everything you need in a running back and what you look for in today's NFL with catching out of the backfield and being able to, be versatile. So if he can get some burn, cool. But like I said, Jordan Mason just ain't gonna lay down. He's gonna be like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, you know what I mean? So he's gonna be out there eating. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm up in the air in this pick just because I don't know what the heck is gonna go on with it.
Yeah. It scares me that it's falling in line. Like the 49ers traded up for him, and it's like, oh, please, Kyle, can we just let it work out?
Are we gonna use this
guy,
dude?
Like that RAS score, whatever, like he's at the top of that shit, like 9.9, whatever, like off the charts with a lot of stuff. Like this kid could be really good. One thing, like he had health problems.
Yeah. Hey, give me one second. There's that. I'm gonna get off camera for a second.
But man, he could be like, they say a lot that it's not just, the player that you're like, the player fit is so important when you're drafting these guys, like how the guy is going to fit into the system that he's being drafted to, right? Like we see so many times, like, especially with quarterbacks, like the teams are so just, they need to get a quarterback, that they're just drafting a quarterback, whoever the next one available is. And then they get to that team and it's just like a complete dumpster fire because that quarterback doesn't work with that coach and the system that he wants to put out there. And it's just like, so this kid can be great. Like so good. Like we saw what Mostert was in that Super Bowl run, right? This kid could be so good in this offense. But you got Kyle Shanahan. And it just, we just need Kyle to use him.
Yeah.
We need Kyle to use our guys. But like I said, don't be surprised if we see some movement with the running back room.
Yeah. What's so crazy too, looking at Kyle since he's been here since 2017. all the running backs that have gave us the most production, other than CMC because he was traded for, was been guys we brought in on day 3 or undrafted. Mostert, Matt Breida, and Elijah Mitchell. It's crazy.
Yeah. So another position group that, rumors are still swirling around about that the 49ers are going to make a trade. And our next position group that we drafted, which now I was surprised here because I'm like, no way was I expecting them to draft another wide receiver before they hit on other areas, right? But here we are. So round 4, pick 135. I did like that we had all those picks right there so close together, but then I hated having to wait to pick 215 to pick again.
Yeah.
Wide receiver Jacob Cowing. Is it
Let's
Cowing?
go. Cowing, yes.
Cowing out
Let's
of
go.
Arizona. I didn't see too much that he said. I don't think. Let me see. Did I write about him? No, I don't think so. But I did see that, a couple things about him is that he's a feisty, he's a blocks, right? So we don't have to worry about him going to the doghouse with the blocking, either of these wide receivers. He plays with a quickness. This guy, he has a jetpack on his back, they said, compared it to that. So I love that. He's a great tracker of the football. Now his size is a little concerning, right? He's only 5'8", 168 pounds. But we've seen now there's been multiple wide receivers coming to the NFL as of late too, recently, that coming in, they're like, oh, he's going to be too little. He's going to always be getting hurt and yada, yada, yada. We haven't seen him have no problems.
Nope.
I think of Devontae Smith with the Eagles.
He's like 175.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a couple guys that came out, I want to say last year as well, maybe went to the Texans.
Who's a little receiver for the Rams? Do you remember? He's really small and fast as well. I just can't think of his name right now.
Oh.
Chat, if you can help me out. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
He's really small. He's like the size of this dude.
Yeah, so we've seen it, work. It's not like, that's going to take him out automatically. Yeah. So there's that. And where Slick Rick is a master at route running, this guy, not so much. So that is one of the knocks about him. His route running's not great, but again, that's something that they can clean up, that he can work on, that he can, put the work in. My worry is that he's coming into a very crowded wide receiver room. Let me go over something real quick before I let you talk about him.
Yeah, for sure.
As it stands right now, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk, Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley, Jacob Cowing, Danny Gray, Juwan Jennings, Tay Martin, Tariq Owens, Deebo Samuel, Trent Taylor are all currently under contract for the 49ers. So we'll get into the rumors swirling about moves that might be made with the 49ers wide receiver room after we're done hitting on the draft picks. So I won't touch too much on that, but he's coming to a very crowded situation. Yeah. Thoughts?
Well, one thing I will
say. Yeah.
Tutu Atwell, yeah.
Thank you,
couldn't remember his name, but yeah.
What's up, Leaving?
So the one thing I will say, Kyle's, for the most part, is pretty loyal to his draft picks. He wants to see them work out and pan out, stuff this and that. So, you look at the Tay Martin, stuff like that, the Chris Conleys and stuff like that, is that he doesn't really have an attachment to them like he will his draft picks. You know what I mean? So yeah, going into that, like you said, we already talked about Pearsall going in and having probably to battle for the fourth job behind Jennings. Now you have all this other stuff, and one person who, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Wolverines fan, one person I have high hopes for still is Ronnie Bell. So he's another draft pick. So yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, I love competition though. This is gonna make everybody that much better. I mean, and two, like you got the Cowings and the Pearsalls on the sidelines watching, like a wide receiver who has the best feet. You can argue the best feet in the NFL in Ayuk with his route running. They get to stand there and actually watch and be like, oh man, like learn how to get open and stuff like that. Which they're already great route runners. So yeah, I'm excited about this wide receiver room, regardless of what happens. But yeah, they got their work cut out for them, every single one of them.
Yeah. All right. So next we got O-line Jarrett Kingston from USC. I do have something. Where did I put you, Kingston? I do have something on him. Let me find it. All right. So it said 49ers get another versatile O-lineman in Jarrett Kingston. He has started all over the place with 5 starts at right tackle, 6 starts at right guard, 10 at left tackle, and 16 at left guard. 49ers will see him as an interior guy with only 32-inch arms, though.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on Mr. Kingston?
Gotta love it. Like I said, O-line depth. I'm never gonna frown up against that. Like, we we haven't. I feel like it's been a long time since we had a great offensive line. I feel like the Jim Harbaugh years with Anthony Davis and Mike Iupati and Staley and all that was like, man, we had like 3 Pro Bowlers on one line. I want to get back to that again. I want to get back to be able to protect our franchise quarterback and stuff like that. So, hey, there's always some, diamonds in the rough. So hopefully this guy, I mean, he played for just like what you call it. We're talking about how these people that are seniors, stuff like that. He's played for a long time, played for a good university in a really good conference. So yeah, let's see what happens with them.
Yep, I agree. Definitely, like he has a great chance to, like I said, beat out some other guys that have been hanging on the bottom of the roster in O-line that can only play one position or can only play this 2 spots because he has experience, like you said, playing good schools, playing good competition, and playing all the way across that O-line. So that's so valuable, especially to this team that we have right now. All right. The last pick of the 49ers draft, round 7, linebacker Tatum Bethune, Florida State. I loved this. Yeah, I love all the draft calls, right? Like that's one of the things. Like I wish that when you're watching the draft that they would actually show those calls instead of all the bullshit that they're freaking spewing out of their pie holes all show long, because like they just repeat the same bullshit all the entire time as you're waiting for the picks to come out, right? And it's like you could be actually showing the things that people are interested in seeing, like the draft calls, like the teams making these calls, like the play, all these things. But no, they don't take advantage of that kind of stuff. But this is one of my favorite, draft calls out of the bunch, because you could just tell how much this meant to him. Like he's crying, like could barely even like get words out as he's talking to them on the phone, and during his press conference, he had said that since obviously the 49ers, picked 251, like right at the end of the draft, he said that he was on the phone with another team talking about them getting him as an undrafted free agent when the 49ers called him. And he said they were like, so I hope you hung up on that other team. And he's like, oh yeah, I did. And
put a Reuben Foster, huh?
Yep. He said that during the lead up to the draft, that he had hit it off with linebackers coach Holland, and that they had great conversations, that they talked about everything. And then during his draft call, like, they're telling him before they hand the phone over to Holland that like he's been talking about you this entire time, trying to get you in every round, like you could tell this is somebody that Holland really wanted to add to this linebacker group. So he's coming into a good situation. Like we're a little thick there right now, but nobody besides our main 2 guys that are for sure, right? Like, so like if he already has an edge in and you're willing to come in and put in that work, and like he said, like he already had been watching Greenlaw, somebody he tries to make his game
Because
like he
emulate and
tries to
everything.
play with that, yeah, with that
Yeah.
nasty, like, and like he said he can't wait to get to work with these guys. So like I'm excited for this guy.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you got what's that guy's name? Devondre Campbell that we picked up in the off season. He's only signed for a year, I believe.
Yep.
And then our main two guys, and I'll hope that Dre Greenlaw can come back, 98% to what he used to be. You know what I mean? Like if
Hmm.
because it's funny. ACLs, I feel like, of course, that's a terrible injury too, but I feel like Achilles are worse. Achilles is right behind your
Yeah.
ankle, and that right there
Yep.
takes away so much explosiveness. You know what I mean? So hopefully he comes
Especially for
back
that
and does
linebacker side to side, the way that we use
exactly.
our linebackers.
Exactly. So yeah, I love the pick. I love linebacker depth. I was hoping that we had addressed linebacker earlier and got Michael Barrett because he's a similar player, but he was already gone, I think, when we picked. But yeah, I haven't done too much deep diving into this guy. Like I said, there was him and the last two picks I need to just study more on. But other than that, like yeah, I love the depth. Like I said, we like you mentioned, we have like Jalen Graham, D Winters, stuff like that. Two guys who are coming into their second year in the system, who are also going to be out there competing their tails off. So it's pretty much like, to me, I feel like it's a job interview that for depth, and who see who's going to elevate it to, like,
Hmm.
I think for 2025 to really see like who's going to be that guy at linebacker, kind of like how Flanagan Foles showed over his career. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even though he was an undrafted guy, he showed that he belonged. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But what I like about this dude, I heard nothing but he's a huge. I mean, like he flies around the field. Like he has so much
Hmm.
athleticism. He's fast. So we get somebody like that to go along with Jalen Graham and D Winters is going to be a very interesting depth chart for these linebackers. And I will say too, I'm even though we're done with the draft picks, I want to say something that you had mentioned. After Cowing, I was also thinking like, oh, it has to be edge next, has to be edge next. But what I'm happy about is that, one, that we didn't go edge, so they see a lot of potential, probably like in Robert Bill, and they still believe in Drake Jackson.
Hmm.
And two, I'm glad that we didn't draft a tight end, because that shows that they believe in Cameron Latu and Braden Willis. So maybe they're seeing something this offseason, because even though they're in the offseason, they have every right to go to the
Hmm.
training facility. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they're seeing the growth in these two tight ends to where we're like, we don't need to draft one now, because I thought for sure we're going to draft one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Same.
so that's yes, so that's it with the draft picks. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple we did obviously filled out, the remainder of the spots with undrafted guys. Um, I don't know too much about all of them, but a couple of guys I wanted to bring up. Obviously, we got T.O.'s son.
Hmm.
So out of all the related guys, the 49ers, and I'm so sad. Like I thought for sure that was going to be one of the first announcements, was that the 49 after the as soon as undrafted guys started going, is that the 49ers signed Frank Gore Jr. And
Yeah.
so when he signed with the Bills, I'm like, oh, my heart, so sad.
Yeah.
But we got Tariq Owens, T.O.'s son. We obviously had talked about that he was there at the 49ers camp. So they got to see him, what kind of work he's been putting in and whatnot. So there's that. And then Cody Schrader, he's a running back as well.
Yeah.
Um, he this past season had a 1,627 yards and 14 touchdowns.
Mm.
So,
Nice.
to get him as an undrafted guy. And then Drake Nugent, who is a center. Schrader, who was it? Was it Schrader? No. So one of the guys that does Daniel Jeremiah.
Oh, okay.
He had this center in his top 150 players.
Did he?
Yeah, and he went
Dang.
undrafted.
Hmm.
And this guy's been working with Ed McCaffrey, CMC's dad. And he signs off on this guy that he's going to be legit.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I thought, where did he come out of?
You talking about the center, right?
Yeah, Drake Nugent.
Dang, he had
I
him in his
thought it
top
was
100. That's crazy. Top 150,
top
you said?
150. Yep.
Dang.
and he went undrafted. So I
Hmm.
know, some people are saying Pooney at center, but like if you could get this guy, if he's good enough to be a starting center, and then you kick out Pooney to right guard.
Mm. Yeah, he went to my Wolverines,
Yeah, that's what I
and
thought.
they usually have good offensive linemen coming out of there.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see. Obviously, it's a tight steep hill for any of these guys, right? Coming to the
Yeah,
49ers and being able to make this squad, but
yeah.
um
Come to
I'm
think of it,
definitely interested
yeah,
in those three.
I think the only reason why he might have failed is because of his size. He's kind of small. He's like 6'1", like 290 or something. So he's not even 300 pounds. So that could be the issue. And maybe he'll be like one of those camp bodies that'll go to the practice squad so he can put on some muscle, stuff like that. Because you can't do nothing about the height, but he can add
Yeah,
some muscle. So
right. Hashtag my QB to get into the last set of giveaways. All right, so let's talk about this trade rumors swirling around about our wide receivers. Last night it came out from numerous places that the 49ers and the Steelers are still in talks. The Steelers are trying to add a big name wide receiver to their room still. Now, this I found very interesting because I figured as soon as the draft was over, these conversations would stop, since if you're trading for draft picks, they can't help you this season now,
no.
right? So I was thinking the only way I see this, I don't see them making a move that's going to make their team and their shot at the Super Bowl worse this year for the future, right? Like for
Yeah.
future draft picks. Now, maybe if the Steelers are interested in trading a player, that now you can beef up a spot, maybe, and we trade Debo for said player, or said player and future draft picks.
Hmm.
Now I could see, okay, this is starting to make sense. If you're just telling me that the 49ers are strictly trading Debo or Ayuk for future draft picks, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Hmm.
I just can't see that happening. What are your thoughts on still this whole rumor swirling? Because, like we said, the 49ers just drafted 2 wide receivers. So
Yeah.
we got like, what? How many? I read off the
Of
list.
like 10 on
One,
the
two,
on the
three,
depth chart.
four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 right now.
11. Yeah. So yeah, I've heard a lot of people requesting like, oh, if we trade Debo to the Steelers, give me Minka Fitzpatrick, stuff like that, the safety, stuff like that. But I don't know. Like, I mean, like you said, maybe just because like the rounds had passed, like the first 2 rounds had passed, and after that, everybody kept saying the 49ers were asking price is too much, this and that. I don't know. Like, I don't know who you would get. Like, I mean, people aren't just throwing away and trading starting offensive linemen like that. You know what I mean? So that'd be hard to get. So I think the only way it gets done is something like I said, I agree. It could be a player, or it could just be something where, like I had mentioned before, like even if you don't get a first, if you believe in that player you're trading for's what's the word I want to use, their potential that they can do for your team. Like if you look at D, which that would be awesome. We'll throw in your two gross mottos too if you want. We'll throw in him, Debo, and TJ Watt for TJ Watt. But like if Mike Tomlin's like, man, I really think we can do this, and I see the future. I can see a vision for Debo where he can do X, Y, and Z. If you really believe he's your guy and he can change around your franchise for the next couple of years or whatever, then go ahead and do it. But I would like to see, like I said, I think we're not getting a first for Debo. It's not happening, and we're not. I would say something like, but like I mentioned before, the Alex Smith type trade. Give me a second and a give me a second in um 2020, second in 2025, and maybe a third in 2026, or whatever the case may be. Now that the draft is gone or whatever, and be like, if he gets over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, whatever, that third can turn into a second, kind of like we did with Alex Smith, like I mentioned. They said, hey, if Alex Smith wins 10 games, he gets you to the playoffs. Congratulations, Denise. So
Denise
I think
gets
if you
Debo.
yeah, so I think if you can find a way to get 2 seconds out of it, then I'd be okay with that. But I just think that they really like Ayuk. I think as the way they drafted, you can tell they're going more to a route running type wide receiver. They don't want a gadget guy, or because we already got one in CMC. So that's my opinion on it. I agree with you. We got a first round receiver for a reason. Even though we didn't trade during the draft, doesn't mean I think a trade is done. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's still gonna be up in the air to me. Maria.
Maria. Maria.
So
It's
yeah, I
heard.
agree with you, Mariah. It's different. I just don't get it. Like I think if they were like, no, I'm standing pat. I'm not gonna trade Debo or IU. I don't think we would have drafted a receiver in the first round. I don't.
Yeah. All right. The Montana Arts is going to. Good luck, everybody.
Maria
Back
again.
to back. Cleaning up.
Yeah,
Congrats.
crazy.
Congrats to all the winners. Let me get this out of here. All right. Anything else you wanted to touch on before we get out of here?
Just before we go, what's up, Tony? Just before you
Hey, Tony.
what do you think? Do you think if come preseason, training camp, all this other stuff, and we still have Debo and Ayuk on the team, do you think if Debo stays, that Ayuk gets extended this year? Do you think we'll be able to pay them both going into the season?
I still think IU gets extended this year. I don't think he
I hope
plays
so.
on his 5th year.
I don't think he does either. I don't think he does either. So, yeah. So if that happens, we could. I mean, unless he's okay with pushing the money back and being like, hey, I'll play. Like I said, we can always offer a bonus too. Hey, look, you can play on your 14.5 million. We'll give you 10 million in bonus this year. That puts you at 24 for the year, and then starting 25, you'll get the 27 million a year, whatever you're asking for. They have to entice him because, like I said, playing on the 5th year is not good for him either. It's good for the team, but it's not good for him because if he gets hurt, um, yeah.
Yeah.
Tony's asking if he can jump in for a second. If you want us to stay on a little bit longer, I have to go pick up my daughter from cheerleading practice, so I gotta go. But Tony, I don't know if you want
Yeah,
to come
go
and
ahead,
jump on for
Tony.
a second. Okay, but yeah, I don't know. It just it just looks at it because you and I both have been saying like, man, I just don't see a situation where you have two receivers, two starting receivers paying for 25 million plus. You're dedicating 50 million to your starting receiving core, and that's just
Hmm.
unheard of to me. You know what I mean? But like I said, give it to them in bonus money. It doesn't count towards the salary cap. So I mean, they say we have an offensive, I mean, not a contract guru. No, it's okay, Tony. Go ahead and come in. You can say a contract guru, but man, like we need to get it done. Like you said, keep posting your tweets every day. Pay that man, pay that man to do it every day, like you said, until he gets paid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know. I think if one of them do get moved, it's Debo,
it
but
has to be.
um I wouldn't be surprised either if they do it. I've still been thinking like they do it next off season.
Hmm.
But I mean, during the season, before the season, next off season, sometime, I think that he's the
Yeah,
one that gets moved and Ayuk gets paid.
yeah. I agree. Younger and more durable, and a pure receiver, and you can see what they're going, what kind of offense they're going to, just the way that they're drafting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cauley said he
Um.
thinks he thinks Danny Gray gets traded. I can kind of see a situation like that too, because he still has some value. We won't get a third round back for him for sure,
No.
but he'll be sort of like a late day 3 pick or something like that, and somebody will be interested if they just want like maybe a 5th-year receiver who got some speed. What's up, Tony?
Hold on 1 second. I gotta get my.
All right,
Okay.
Tony.
All right, what's up? Sorry,
Nothing.
I'm on vacation.
Oh my
So
God, you on vacation, brother? You didn't? Are you at home though?
no, I'm in Mexico.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
I'll give you a little sneak preview. Ow.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
Don't be
Somebody
dropping
ain't
us off
happy
the
in the
balcony.
background. I know, for real.
Here's a
Ooh,
little-
Beautiful.
my goodness.
Did you
Yes,
see it?
sir. Yeah, oh,
Yep.
most definitely. See the palm trees in the back and the ocean. The pool's nice.
Yeah.
See,
Very
I
nice.
love to swim. That's my thing. I'd be in the water all day.
I swam from 9 o'clock this
So how
morning.
you
We just
feeling?
came up to the feeling good. You know, people gotta understand something. Like I keep hearing. Stop! Don't yell at her like that. Don't yell at her like that. Don't do that. Don't do that. So what people got to realize is all these commentators are like, you know, oh, the Niners reached, the Niners did this, all that good shit. But you got to understand something. The people that they added are 49ers style players. So it might not be the guy that they wanted for the Niners, like at 31, but what would have it been if they would have drafted a tackle? What would they have say? Oh, it's a reach, it's too high, it's this, it's that. No, it's like let these guys do what they do. Let them run their ship, and if they sink, they sink. If they swim, they swim. It's on them. But clearly, they know what they're doing and what they're looking for in players. Because there's no other wide receiver, to be honest with you, that fits what the 49ers do best than Pearsall. If you look at it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, like all the other stuff as far as like I think I love Puny. Puny's a great player. I don't know why they don't give him an opportunity at right tackle. I really don't. But you know, the undrafted free agent class, I know you guys are just ending right now, so I'll just keep it short and sweet. But the undrafted free agent class, I think there's potentially 3 guys that can make noise. The defensive tackle that they signed from Florida Atlantic is a monster. Like, is a monster. Okay. He was overweight, though. He lost weight. He's down to like 325.
Okay.
And you saw him once they announced the signing, he did the backflip in the swimming pool.
In the pool? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not that out of shape. So, you know, they added pieces to the puzzle that they need, right? Everyone said, well, there's not really many holes on this defense, on this roster. So the Niners go out and draft that way, and everyone's bitching and moaning about it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Tony, before I get out of here right now, let me ask you before I get off. Out of all the draft picks, who's your favorite one?
Oh, I'm gonna go to Mustafa kid.
Nice.
I really like him.
That's me and Miriah and I's favorite as well. So that's funny.
I honestly think Mustafa could be something this year.
And so do I.
If he can adapt, the first role I think he will come in as is the star role that Staley used with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's how he's going to get on the field. I mean, of course, special teams, but But I think that's how he's going to get on the field right away. And then watch out for Puny. Watch out for Puny. I think Puny can make some noise. I really do. I mean, I would love to see him get his full season in the weight room, get some strength up, but just watch out for him. The one pick I'm like, we were live when they drafted him, and Breezy went absolutely nuts. The running back,
Garendo.
there's something about him that just isn't rubbing the right way for me. I don't know what it is. Because I'm a diehard Florida State fan, and I watched them play Louisville, and the kid didn't do much. I understand he has that blazing speed. That's fine. But if you can't see a way to get to that blazing speed, I don't give a shit how fast you are. You need the vision and the patience to set up the hole and then the one cut downhill running. Then you'll see it. But, I mean, listen, it was only the Florida State game I watched. Florida State did have a good defense, so let's say that. But I just – there's something about him that I'm not like, yes, like, you know what I'm saying? I think
well, Tony, in saying that, brother, thank you for ruining my day.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Because I was like, maybe this is the running back that finally gets his chance and can do something for us. But...
Listen, I could – listen. Tia, I could be wrong. Don't
I hope so. Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It says a lot for them to trade 2 number 5s. The round that this team has been the most successful in to move up and get this kid.
Yeah.
Maybe he might not be ready like you know, year 1, maybe he needs to sit a year and learn to be patient, how to run the speed of the NFL, adjust to the speed of the NFL. I just think he's not going to be a day one contributor on that offense. I think he will be a special teamer. He will make the roster. There could be some situational, carries that he might get, especially near the goal line. That's going to be his bread and butter. He's going to have to make his way starting off with goal line carries. But my question to you is, we are all high on Mitchell. We're all high on Mason. Who's the odd one out?
I think Mitchell gets traded.
I think Mitchell just because I think Mitchell either gets traded because or he stays like fourth on the depth chart. If we keep 4 running backs, we just don't know. But
Now,
I think Mitchell would be out just because he's on the last year of his deal and he's like the older one and injury prone, all that stuff. But I'll listen to it after I get back and hear what you have to say. But I gotta go. I gotta pick up my daughter from cheerleading practice. I appreciate you, fam. Tony, it's always good seeing you. I'm jealous. That vacation looks amazing.
Mhm.
But yeah, brother, you guys take care, fam.
yeah,
See you.
definitely.
So yeah, I think definitely they make a move at running back, and probably it's Elijah Mitchell. It's the odd guy out.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, it's not a knock against this kid. I think the kid could be good, but I don't think he's going to be, cutting into McCaffrey's any of his carries. I don't think he's there yet. I mean, I think he's got to build the trust in Kyle and Bobby Turner to get into that rotation. But listen, I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. The kid is fast as lightning. But my thing is, I want to see him in this offense get to the edge and then explode. I want to see that speed because if he's going to sit there and he's not that one, like he's a one-cut runner. It's there. You see it. But if he's going to be like somewhat a little bit hesitant at the next level because the game is a lot faster, I'm just nervous about what could that do to his game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, I could be wrong. I'm not right. I'm not a pro. I'm not a general manager. I just speak what I see.
You're our general manager. What do you mean?
I wish I was. Are you kidding me?
How you feeling about Renardo Green?
I think he's very talented. Again, coming from a Florida State fan, I mean, that kid played big in big games versus big opponents. You saw what he did versus LSU with Neighbors and Thomas. I honestly, a gut feeling, I honestly think he might have a shot to be some type of role as a safety to get on the field quick. With Mustafa, if they want to go 3 safeties, you could see a look with Jair Brown as the strong safety. Potentially this kid come as a free safety. You could see him play the nickel because he played everything at Florida State. He played across the whole defense, the whole secondary. So he's another one that gives you versatility back there. So the main goal of this draft is it's a little bit different than years previous. They went with more experienced players, more athletic players, and more versatile players, right? So, and as far as he asked, TL asked the question about, what does this say for Debo or Ayuk? I'm just saying something, but June 1st didn't come yet. So if they get a deal, if they get something offered for Debo, I mean, it's highly unlikely because I do think they want to keep this nucleus together to go make the run for Lombardi. And I think this team would benefit with Debo, and I think their chances are a lot greater with Debo. But clearly this draft was 2025 written all over it. So one of them I think is not going to be here. And I kind of think the 49ers are doing, what are we going to get the best return for who? And that's the one we're going to move. That's where I'm at right there. Because I think Pearsall could play both roles. I think he could play the Ayuk role, and I think he can play the Debo role. I mean, not as physical as Debo, but he can line up. He can take a backside reverse and run it because he did it in Florida, and he did it. He's pretty successful with it. His vision's there. His cuts are there. Speed's there. He doesn't back down from contact. He blocks. So this falls into the category, is Kyle Shanahan moving away from that gimmick type offense where you need that player like Debo to get the ball in his hands and let him carry your offense. So it could be that, that they're starting that transition phase of his offense. Because listen, you can't stay the same year in, year out, because teams will pick up on your tendencies
Exactly.
and build defenses to stop you. So what you have to do is you have to evolve. My question is it going to be more than evolve, or is it going to be a full transition, like to something different? Just hold on one second, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Maybe next year when you start paying your quarterback this high quarterback money, you're moving into an offense where you need that quarterback to start carrying you a little bit more, and not guys like Debo. We have a quarterback that can make the throws now. Debo was a Jimmy guy. We needed Debo to run this offense when we had Jimmy Garoppolo, because he couldn't do anything else. We now have a quarterback that can actually make throws, that can use regular wide receivers,
Okay. And I think the main problem is when they extended Debo, Christian McCaffrey wasn't on the roster. So I think the 49ers stepped on their own toes by bringing in Christian McCaffrey, because that took away carries out of the backfield, and that took away the full value of Debo in the contract that you paid him.
Yeah.
Right? So he had to relegate to a more wide receiver role. And I think the jury's still out. You could say, he's doing pretty good, sure. But some people will say, well, he struggled versus getting away from press man coverage. He can't separate. He's great when he runs a shallow cross or a dig route. You're not touching him through a zone. Like, he's dangerous versus zone defense. The problem is, can he play that up in your face, jamming you at the line of scrimmage? He's physical, but I just don't know if he knows the technique to get away with that, like without getting called for a push off or whatever, something like that. But I'm really looking forward to the season. I'm really looking forward to the mini camp with all the rookies, the undrafted free agents, the guys that are getting open invites for tryouts. And today started, I think, at 4 p.m. Eastern, that anyone signed from this point on does not count in the formula against your compensatory picks for 2025. So I think that's going to be interesting. There could be a move that could be made to add another piece to the puzzle, whether it's a tight end, whether it's another edge rusher, but I doubt it, or another safety. So it's interesting. The 49ers are in a good spot right now. They're ready. Their roster's ready to compete for 2025. I think it's 2024. I think it's pretty much set, minus maybe a move or two. But, I just have a feeling there is a low percentage chance that when June 1st comes and goes and the 49ers get that abundance cap space that they get from Armstead, there could be a slight possibility somebody gets moved. One of them get moved if they feel it's the best bang for their buck and the compensation's good. And it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's definite, but it's on the table, because I honestly think they have to make a decision between one of these two guys, because you can't keep all these high-priced guys and sign a quarterback to a $40 million a year deal. You're going to be in trouble within the first year.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting how they handle that, though.
Real quick, Tony, before we get out of here, Melissa wants to know your thoughts on Tatum Bethune.
Love him. He has one of the lowest completion percentages quarterbacks have versus him when he's in coverage. And it's kind of odd, right? Because he's a 4'6'9" linebacker, but yet he's so damn good in coverage. What does that tell you? Instincts. He's an instinctive linebacker. He will come up and crack you right underneath your jaw and lay you out, because you did it versus Jalen. I'll never forget that game when he came up and just lit up Jalen Daniels from LSU. My man got his head went back. He's a physical guy. He's not the typical sideline to sideline guy, but I think due to his speed, his time speed, but he's one of those guys that you don't like. The time speed doesn't match his game speed, right? And I think that's a pro for him. And you add in his instincts, and I think that's why he could have a successful NFL career. I mean, I think he's going to battle one of the guys on one-year deals, whether it's Flanagan Foles, one of the special teams guys that they signed. And listen, it's all about getting your bang for your buck now when they start giving out big contracts, right? Yes, you can keep a Flanagan Falls, but he's a free agent next year. And what is he going to want next year? You have this kid locked up for 4 years, salary control. He'll be on your team and he'll play his ass off because he wants a second contract.
Right.
So that's what you're going to see. And I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of these undrafted free agent guys might get a nod if they could show that they could sell out on special teams. They might have a role on this roster. Who knows?
Yeah. Anything else before we get out of here, Tony?
No, I didn't mean to hold you guys. I'm all screwed up with the time difference here too. So
Oh, you're fine.
But yeah, I'll come on again with you guys. No problem. We'll talk more whenever you want. Just shoot me a DM.
All right, you guys heard it. The GM will be back. We have plenty of time between now and the start of the season to talk about all these guys over and over and over and over again. So shout out to you, chat, for being here. Shout out to you, Tony, for coming in. Enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your family. You work your ass off for stuff like this, so definitely you deserve it. Have a great time. It looks beautiful. And yeah, chat, I will be back Thursday with Steph Sanchez for the Two Goat Show at 3 Pacific time. So see you guys then. Everybody have a safe and wonderful rest of your week. We're out of here, faithful.